Why did you feel the need to put that in a book? Why did you feel that that was appropriate? Why would you expose that, or, you know, just feel like this was a good thing to say? Hello, welcome to my channel, Outspoken Samantha. If you are new here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for the support. On my channel, I like to give my opinion and perspective on things that are happening today, things that I think actually matter to everyday people, especially those of us trying to raise kids in the insanity known as today's society. I do like to talk about current events and politics, and my perspective does tend to be more on the conservative side of things. Please like this video, leave a comment below, share it with others. Also, be sure you are subscribed to my channel. Help me to grow this channel to hopefully reach more people that value logic, reason, and sanity. Also, be sure to find me on Rumble under Outspoken Samantha in the event that YouTube decides I have violated their community standards and chooses to kick me off their platform forever. That being said, let's get into today's topic. That in my intro, I always say that I like to talk about things that I think people care about. Today, I'm not so sure that this is going to be something that a lot of people care about, but I couldn't help it. I just felt the need to at least vent about it a little bit, perhaps just get it off my chest and then hopefully never have to talk about it again. But it's this issue with Harry and Meghan. And you know, ever since they got married in 2018, you know, the first year and a half that they were in the UK with the British family, with the royal family, you know, we were all happy for them. Things were going well. It just was wonderful. Everybody was like accepting of them. And then came out this interview with Oprah, you know, after they came to the US, and, you know, it just has all been downhill since then. They've done nothing but trash the royal family, nothing but just do everything they can to tarnish their name, to, you know, destroy their reputation, and really just, I don't know, just destroy them. I can't imagine living a life like that, where that is like the ultimate goal, is to take down your family. But that just seems to be what they have in mind. And, you know, I really have avoided a lot of their interviews, a lot of the things that have come out. I refuse to watch the Netflix documentary, and I don't listen to Meghan Markle's podcast. You know, all of the times that they've said they just want their privacy, yet they're all over like Netflix and 60 Minutes and whoever will interview them, all over, you know, Spotify, telling everybody how much they want their privacy. And it's starting to lose a little bit of that sincerity. But, you know, as we know, Harry released this memoir called Spare just a few days ago, and apparently it sold over 1 million copies, which makes it one of the top-selling books of all time, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure how I feel about what that says about our priorities, but I honestly think most of it is from just curiosity. Like, what is he going to put in here? I think at this point, most people are taking what he says and what Meghan says with a grain of salt, not really giving them a whole lot of credibility, because they really have lost a lot of credibility. A lot of the things that Meghan has said have been debunked, have been disproven. People have come out, you know, within the same experiences that she's talking about, have come out and said, yeah, that didn't happen. That's not true. Even Harry himself has had to correct some of the things that she has said. So, you know, they've lost a lot of credibility. So I don't think that those book sales are really based on people, you know, really believing what they have to say. I honestly think it's just out of curiosity, like, what are they saying now? What are they going to come out with now? It's more entertainment than anything. But, you know, and I haven't read the book Spare. I'm probably never going to read it. I have about 100 other books that I would rather read right now, and that's probably just not going to make it to the top of the priority list. But I've heard so many people talking about it, and of course, you know, based on previous interviews that they have done, things that they have said, just kind of the tone that they have set, and their goals of taking down the family, we can pretty much guess what this book is about and what it's going to be centered on. And of course, it's just another trash the royal family book. And I'm not saying that there isn't any credibility in it. You know, Harry, of course, talks a lot about the trauma of losing his mother, and just kind of the events surrounding that, and how that was handled, and how he felt as a little boy experiencing that. So, you know, I'm not trying to minimize that. You know, I can only imagine. We all saw it on the world stage. I was born and raised in Canada, so I was watching it from there. And, you know, I was a teenager when it happened, and I still felt in my heart, you know, just the tragedy of that event, because Diana was such a beloved figure, despite all of the things that were happening in her life and the turmoil that was going on in her marriage. And, you know, but it was a tragic event. So I can't imagine going through that in such a public way, and probably not feeling like it was addressed in a way that would have been most beneficial to help such a young boy. But aside from that, of course, there are just so many things in this book that are just so questionable as to why would you say that? Like there's so many things that it's just like, why did you feel to put the need to put that in a book? Why did you feel that was appropriate? Why would you expose that, or, you know, just feel like this was a good thing to say? I mean, just from a grown adult perspective. So I just want to touch on just a few of the things that I have heard about it. Like I said, probably not going to read it. Doesn't come high on my priority list, but you know, just the fact that it is called Spare. Throughout this book, there is very much this tone that Harry is very bitter about the fact that he was born second, that he was born after William, and that William obviously has this higher role in the family, and Harry just seems to have this huge chip on his shoulder, just seems to be just hold this grudge against his brother over obviously something that his brother had no control over. It's not like William asked to be born first. It's not like he asked to be the next in line to the throne, and that, you know, he put Harry second. It's just the way that it works, you know, and it seems to be that there's a lot of bitterness and just kind of this grudge about how people seem to treat William as opposed to how people treat him. And you know, it's just a lot of things that are out of their control, out of William's control. I'm not sure if Harry just like expects William to apologize for something because William obviously hasn't done anything wrong, but you know, it just seems to be this chip on his shoulder that for some reason he just feels like maybe an apology is in order. I'm not even sure. And it's really sad because when I look at the brothers, I have two boys, they're 20 months apart, and the dynamic between William and Harry reminds me a lot of my boys. You know, you have this first child that, and it seems to be like with a lot of my mom friends, it seems to be kind of, you know, the majority of the case, not always, but you have a first child and they're more serious. They just take the world more seriously. They have a little bit more maturity, just that's kind of innate in them, part of their personality. And then you have this second child that's just kind of blah, like just all the time. And that is exactly how my boys have been. I've got this one kid that's just far more serious, just a little bit more put together, and just a little bit easier to manage as far as like emotions. And then I had my second son, and he is just all over the place all the time. Love them both. They complement each other. They have this really amazing friendship. I think, you know, they learn things from each other, and I love that. I love both of these people for who they are, and they're amazing. And the dynamic between William and Harry has always kind of reminded me of my boys, just having this more serious older brother and just this kind of second child to kind of spice things up a little bit, to, you know, keep people on their toes, and just, you know, you just never know what you're going to get. So I always admired that, but it's really unfortunate that Harry has taken on this, you know, this bitterness and this grudge towards his brother, and really truly believing that he was born for spare parts, essentially. It reminds me of this movie, and it was a long time ago. I want to say that Cameron Diaz was in it, but, and I wish I had looked it up before this, but it was about this little girl that, you know, this couple that had this child that's very ill. She's got cancer from childhood, and so they pretty much manufacture like a sister for her who is an exact match for everything. So if their older daughter needs a kidney or bone marrow or some kind of a transplant or something, that this child that they have manufactured can provide those things for her. So if you know what movie I'm talking about, leave the title in the comments, because I can see it in my brain, but I can't think of what the movie, I believe it had Abigail Breslin in it as well. But that's kind of the tone that I think that Harry is setting here, you know, because he says in the book that, you know, he was born as a spare if my brother needed, you know, a bit of bone marrow or, you know, something else from him. And it's just so bizarre to me because, you know, obviously we don't know the underlying dynamic of the family, what was going on behind the scenes as far as the relationship between their mom and, you know, their parents and the kids. But I have absolutely no doubt that Diana loved these boys. She loved William and Harry. Like, there was no, like, obvious favoritism between the two. And, you know, obviously there's going to be different expectations of William because he is the oldest, he is the firstborn. But she loved those boys. Those boys were her world. So I have a really hard time believing this idea that Harry was born just for spare parts and that he was just kind of toted around as this, you know, this thing that they used in case William needed something to keep William, you know, strong and going and supported. So Yeah, I don't believe that for one bit. Next, he talks about I'm not sure in what order these events happen in the book. He talks about being in the military and his service, I believe, in Afghanistan, and he puts a number to the number of people that he killed over in Afghanistan, which I don't know that much about the military. And if you do, again, please leave it below if this is some kind of unwritten rule or written rule saying that you don't talk specifically about the number of people that you kill in war. To me, it would seem like that would create this immense security risk in actually admitting to killing a certain number of people of the other side. I mean, we know that when you go over there, there's a good chance, like there's lives that are going to be lost on both sides, but there's no specifics about it, and that keeps a target off of your back. But when you do start to talk about specifics and say, you know, I killed this number of people, that gives the other side reason to target you, like, hey, he's admitting this. He is admitting, you know, he is somebody specifically that we know for sure killed our people. Whereas like if you have a group of people, you know, some of them have probably shot the other side, some of them have killed the other side, but you don't know specifically who. And so it kind of keeps this vagueness over it that probably provides a level of protection. And so I thought that was really, you know, kind of shocking that he would say something like this. But I did come across an article in the New York Post where it says this former Marine Penn Farthing, who coordinated the evacuation of cats and dogs from Kabul in August of 2021, said he had to leave the city because of Prince Harry's claim that the royal killed 25 Taliban soldiers during his tours of combat. Penn Farthing slammed Harry's autobiography, Spare, which was released prematurely in Spain last week, as badly judged. Farthing, 53, said Friday, Harry's revelations about the prince's time in Afghanistan have put his own life in danger. And this Farthing said he left Kabul, leaving behind his work with animal shelters because of the potential reprisal attacks on ex-forces of people like me. So he has had to be relocated because of the danger that this poses. So, you know, like I said, I'm not part of the military. I don't know exactly what all of this means, but if you do know exactly how that works or what soldiers are told, please leave that in the comments because I'm very interested to know. But it just seems really tasteless to put that in the book, just really irresponsible. Another thing he talks about in this book is he talks about how he was circumcised and how William is circumcised, and he talks about this issue with frostbite. I guess he and Meghan took a trip to the North Pole or Antarctica or someplace really cold not long before his no, it wasn't with Meghan because it was before William's wedding. So he went on this trip and he got frostbite, I guess, a little bit on his penis. And this was an issue that happened just before his brother's wedding. And he decided to talk about this in the book, which is just utterly bizarre. But he talks about how he was in a lot of pain and discomfort and he was trying a lot of home remedies to fix this situation because he didn't want to be dealing with this during his brother's wedding. And a friend or somebody suggested that he put Elizabeth Arden cream on the frostbitten area. And so in the book, he talks about how he opened this Elizabeth Arden cream and he remembered it because his mom used to put this cream on her lips and the smell just really reminded him of his mother. And I'm just like, the whole dynamic of that situation is so bizarre. You're about to put this cream on your nether regions and you're thinking about your mama. So weird. It doesn't make you look good, Harry. It does not make you look good. The whole thing is bizarre. I understand that, you know, you probably felt like you needed to put this in there to point out how something reminded you of your mom and why you were using this Elizabeth Arden cream and you needed to provide a little bit of context. But it doesn't make you look good. It makes you look terrible. It makes you look ridiculous. And, I have to wonder what the conversation was behind putting those, revelations in this book. Was Meghan sitting there going, we need something, we need to put something in this book. We need something to catch people's attention. What could it be? And Harry's like, I could talk about my penis. I could talk about my penis. And Meghan's like, yes, that is a great idea. And Harry's like, I could talk about my brother's penis too. And they're both like, yeah, that is a great idea. Put that in there. Like, I honestly think a lot of people are buying this book just out of curiosity from those two stories about the frostbite and the circumcision as well. Just information that we didn't need to know. We didn't need to know. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to know. Totally bizarre. And then, there's just a bunch of things that, Meghan has put in there. Of course, she believes that she's a victim of the royal family, which is really interesting because if you watch earlier interviews of when they were first engaged, she talks about how warm and friendly the family was and how amazing they were and just how welcoming they were. And and then they go and they get married and they spend about 18 months in with the family and before deciding to leave to go to the US, where of course they wanted their privacy. And, and where are they going to get more privacy than being a royal couple living in the middle of LA where, it's like the height of the paparazzi. Just saying. But, it's just interesting how this switch flipped. And it's almost like Meghan spent just enough time in with the royal family to gain perspective on what their rules are and, what the rules are regarding attention to the royal family and the paparazzi and the cameras and, what stories could be written about them. And then came to the US and knew that, she and Harry could pretty much say whatever they wanted and there wouldn't be any backlash because they knew that the royal family would not be able to respond in a lot of ways. And I think that that's probably one of the most despicable parts of this is them knowing full well that they can say whatever they want and that the royal family are bound by certain rules of conduct and ethics and, just protection of their name, that they're not going to respond, they're not going to retaliate. And I think that just makes this whole thing just egregiously worse, just so horrible. They are attacking people that they know cannot fight back. And that makes them look absolutely horrendous, worse than they already did. And then, it's like, I don't understand the thought process because nobody believes Harry and Meghan. There's probably a small group of people that do, but ultimately nobody believes them. They have been discredited and debunked so many times and nobody wants to listen to their whining. Nobody wants to listen to their constant talk about how hard their lives are as they live in this multi-million-dollar mansion in a gated community with, multi-thousand square foot home with nannies and servants and all of these things about how difficult their lives have been because nobody believes it. Nobody believes it. Nobody wants to hear it. There are those of us that are actually struggling to get by day to day, and we're not interested in hearing you whine about how hard your life is. And the fact that they have been discredited so many times, honestly, if William and Kate were simply to come forward and say, yeah, none of it is true. None of it is true. They have a level of credibility behind them themselves as a couple where people would be like, okay, I believe you. Like, I would believe William and Kate if they came and said, yeah, there is nothing to these stories. Or, even just addressed one or two of them and said, yeah, that's not how that happened. And left it at that. And I'd be like, okay, I believe you. Just the fact that Meghan consistently, especially tries to paint Kate as this just really unfriendly, unwelcoming, just, snotty person. And we've had a lot of exposure to Kate. We've seen her over the years. And I've never gotten, I'm sure a lot of us have never gotten an impression of her other than just being this really warm, genuine, welcome person. She reminds me so much of Diana, but even better because she doesn't have all of this controversy behind her. She's just this genuine person. She never seemed to want to be a part of the royal family for attention or for money or for fame or any of that. She loved William, and they spent 10 years working on their relationship before they got married. And I think, that's the kind of thing it takes to understand what your responsibilities and roles will be as a member of the royal family. And I think she took that to heart, and it was never about her. And she's always been that person. She's never given us reason to question that in any way. And people love her. People love her. Whereas Meghan, it was like, you could tell from the beginning, we wanted to believe that she was in this for the right reasons. But, they dated, she and Harry didn't date for that long, I feel like, but we wanted to believe it was for the right reasons and that Harry had finally found somebody, and finally start that family life that hopefully would truly make him happy. And we all were happy that they got married. There was no racism. There was no people, trying to keep them out of the, in the book, it talks about, how people kind of were trying to talk him out of it, and they were probably seeing things that they had concerns about. But people were welcoming, for the most part, of Meghan, from what we could see. But it was not surprising to anybody when this switch flipped And ever since then, you know, they've lost all likability. Nobody believes what they have to say, and especially nobody is going to believe what they have to say about William and Kate. Have there been some conflicts there? Probably. All families have them. But overall, you know, if we were to pick one or the other guys, sorry, I'm going with William and Kate. And you guys really, truly seem to you just need to stop whining. You need to stop whining because they seem to think that the more victimhood status that they can gain, that the more popular that they are going to be. And they think that the more people that are against them, the bigger victims that they are. And this is going to continue to fuel this conversation. But honestly, the more people that are against you, because like the only people that are confirming the things that they have said are Harry and Meghan, whereas with William and Kate, they have all of these people around them saying, yeah, like William and Kate are the good guys here. They are not the ones that are attacking this couple. So let me know what you guys think. I think the whole thing is just completely insane. I had to get that off my chest. But anyway, be sure to like this video, leave a comment below, also share it with others. Be sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.